Hey everybody, it's Paula. Welcome to my channel, Stitching in High Heels, where I talk about my love of all things needlework. Usually it's counted cross stitch, but I also enjoy freehand embroidery and some crochet, and hopefully I'll be getting into a little bit of knitting. I've done it here and there in the past, but I usually end up getting bored before I finish a project, so we'll see how things go. I have some new subscribers. Welcome. I'm very glad you're here. To my returning subscribers, welcome back. I'm glad you've continued to come and check out my videos. And if you haven't subscribed, if you're new, you're just finding me for the first time, welcome to you as well. I hope you find some things that you like, and hope you'll hit the like button, the subscribe button, get notifications when I post a new video, that kind of thing. All the things we ask for on FlossTube. I do want to apologize. I did miss an episode, and I've been trying really hard this year to be consistent. March was a busy month for us. The 24th of March is my mom's birthday, so we spent the day celebrating with her. That would have been my off week for filming anyway. And then or maybe it wasn't, 11, 14. I guess that probably would have been my week to film. And then, of course, last week was Easter, and I'd been hoping to get a couple of quick updates in the week in between on the days when I worked from home, but work's been busy. We had some interesting homeowner type episodes. One of the pieces of equipment in our basement that brings cable and internet signal into the house went bad. I had to have a technician come out. And then we had a storm last week on Wednesday with some high winds and such, and we had some power issues, which affected, of course, internet and all that other kind of stuff. So it's just been, sorry, my hair is being a little annoying there. Just been a busy and eventful few weeks. And then, of course, it was, for anyone in California, you probably wouldn't have even blinked, but where my office is, the earthquake that was in New Jersey on Friday, we felt that. And for us East Coast people, it was interesting. Thankfully, there wasn't a lot of damage, and we could, I don't know if I want to say enjoy the experience, but we could understand the experience and say, well, that was different, kind of cool. Glad we don't live where you folks have the big ones or have these events more often. I know in one of my Facebook groups, there was a woman who said she lived in California and they had these small events like this fairly frequently, but the thought of a hurricane would frighten her. So it's all about where we live and what we're used to, right? So I think that's about it. By the way, today is Sunday, April 7th. It's about noon Eastern time here. I want to get this finished, filmed and up. I've got a birthday party to go to this afternoon, and also it's a beautiful day here, one of our really lovely spring days. I need to get outside, and one of our older dogs, we need to start working on getting her walking some more. So got to get that done before I leave the house. I apologize if you hear some noise in the background here shortly. My husband has to head out for a meeting. He's got to change. I've got the door closed, but probably excite the dogs a little bit when he's taken off. So hopefully it won't be too much and I won't have to stop. I've got a lot to show, so we're going to jump into it. I know I've been thinking about doing some show and tell with previous finishes plus charts for the designer that I have in my stash, and I'm going to get back to that, but I have so much to show today. It's going to be a fairly long video anyway, and we'll get back to that format in the next episode. So essentially this is going to be pretty much a March recap. I'm not going to try not to show you much of what I've started since the beginning of April, and we'll talk about April plans in terms of WIPGO and all that kind of stuff, and then we'll catch up and get back on schedule in my first April video. I do have some notes, so I apologize if I look away. I just want to make sure that I talk to you guys about everything that I want to say, because there's a lot that I want to share that I'm excited to share with everyone. So I was late in the month, but I did get my two fully finished objects done from my fully finished WhipGo board. For those of you who are new and aren't aware, WhipGo is a bingo style challenge that was developed by Jessie Marie from Jessie Marie Does Stuff. And she each month she calls two numbers, and you lay out a board with 25 squares. And these squares can be anything that you want them to be. They can be new starts, they can be cleaning your craft room, they can be organization oriented, working on your current WIPs or works in progress, if you're not aware what that stands for, WIP, work in progress, or a piece that's currently not finished, it's not a new start, you're working on it. And people kind of define that differently here in the cross stitch world. So this is the first year I'm actually participating. I've been watching for several years and enjoying how people have set this up. And so far it seems to be a really good way for me to accomplish some goals that I have for the year. And I had to think about what I wanted to get done. So I have 3 boards. One is to take ornaments that I have stitched over time and get them finished into an object that I can hang on my tree. They're Christmas, so I would be hanging them on my Christmas tree. One is to start ornaments from the early 2000s. I bought special fabric cuts. There was a shop that sold small cuts for ornaments in the Just Cross Stitch ornament issue each year. I bought a bunch of those. They were ornaments I knew I had to stitch, right? And promptly filed those small cuts away in a shoebox. And in doing some organization, I found them, and WhipGo's a perfect way for me to get those ornaments started. So far, I've been lucky. I've been able to finish all the ones that I've started. If you watch my previous episodes, so we'll see if that continues. I do have some, and I'm afraid they're all going to get called at the same time. There are some ornaments that are pretty stitch heavy that I may not get finished in a month, but I figure a good start is a good start. And my third board is to work on pieces that I do have in progress. I tend to like to stitch big pieces, and so I've got quite a backlog of pieces that need some love, and this is a good way to get some work on them. I'll talk about them more when I get to that. But for March, my 2 pieces that were previously stitched and were called to be finished are, I just want to make sure I get the names right here. This is Blue Snowman by the Little Stitcher, and it's from the 2016 Just Cross Stitch ornament issue. And here it is. There is a snowman on there. I know he's not showing up really great on the camera, but he does show up in person. And I took, you can see on the back, this is a wood snowflake shaped ornament. It came unfinished. I picked up a package at probably Hobby Lobby or Michael's, probably Hobby Lobby. I painted it with some paint that I had, and I'm not sure if you can see, but there you can see a little bit. Got some sparkle on the top there. And just did a quick, I've got a glue string here, just did a quick flat fold ornament, some plain white ribbon as a hanger, and that's a finish. And actually, I do want to mention, I did have somebody comment on my last video, and I didn't take this as a criticism in any way. It was something I've been thinking of. But they did mention my camera's not great at focusing on close-up. I didn't like the fact that when I filmed with my phone, I either couldn't see what I was showing you guys, because I couldn't get a reliable connection to my computer and have a good setup where I could see what I was showing. Or like if I showed you a chart cover, all the print was backwards. That just made me crazy. So I bought an inexpensive camera. It was supposed to autofocus. Probably doesn't have a macro setting. I'll do a little bit more research into that. If I'm really good at continuing to post videos regularly and it continues to be something that I enjoy, I'll probably upgrade my camera. So for now, we're kind of stuck with this, and I do appreciate it, and it is in my thought process to find something that focuses better. And I appreciate that you guys, help me get better. I'm all about that. This is FlossTube 25, 26, something like that. So I am pretty new to it. Have some ideas for some things that I do want to do going forward. But definitely leave me comments. I'd love to hear from you. And if you've got suggestions, definitely put them out there. I'm more than happy to hear from you. So that was my first ornament, to get back to the stitching content, because we all know how that kind of squirrel thing can go, right? So the other ornament that I was up to be finished is Blue Christmas by Blackwork Journey, and this is from the 2020 Just Cross Stitch Ornament issue. And here it is, small motifs. And I just did this. It is a diamond shape, so I just finished this. This is another, I didn't do a pillow, I did another flat ornament finish. I put some fiberfill quilt batting, thin batting on both the front and the back. Used a little bit of silver rickrack that I had in my stash, and a blue ribbon for the hanger. And then this is the backing fabric, which is really cool. I'm pretty sure, actually we're looking at a diamond shape, pretty sure I bought this cut of fabric specifically for this this ornament, because it matches the nice deep blues in those. So that's where we're at with that. This is actually, I've got it finished. I do have some year charms with the number 2020, so I'll probably put that on here yet. I meant to do that and forgot. So those are my two FFO whip go calls. Excuse me, got a fuzz in my eye. Let me get them out of the way. And so that's my FFOs. I do also have a finish to share with you, and this is another whip go call. This is one of my ornaments that was called to be stitched, and this is Never Too Big by Dragon Dreams Designs. And I know you guys saw that in my last episode. I needed to finish some of the back stitching, and I needed to wait for the button to come from just another button company. It's not the exact button that was pictured in the ornament issue, but they had the one that was called for was not available, so I ordered a couple more, and this is the one that fit best. So I love these little Dragon Dreams ornaments. They're just adorable. And there he is. He's got his little knight in his stocking full of treasures, and another present down there. So pretty much stitched. It's stitched with DMC. So I used the called for colors and the called for Kreinik in his tail and his crest there. The one thing I did change, these holly berries, if you can see them, they were called to be colonial knots. I don't necessarily mind doing colonial knots, but I had some beads that I thought fit and looked even prettier, added a little extra sparkle to go with the Kreinik. So that's Never Too Big, and that's a finish. My plan is to take these ornaments that I stitched this year, and I'll have another Whip Go FFO board next year, and I'll have 25 set to go, right? I do have a few more than 25 from this year, so if I don't get all 25 finished this year, I'll still have a board full. So that should be fun. And let's see, I didn't have any starts for this month, or for this episode, but I did touch several of my in-progress pieces, so we'll just jump in and go from there. In addition to Whip Go, I belong to the Whip Warriors Facebook group. It's currently closed. It'll open for new members again in November. And it's a group specifically designed to get you to focus on your works in progress. They have several different ways you can do it. I'm in the what they call the SWEWE track, which is Stitch What You Want. They have a 24 and 24, a bunch of different tracks, but they do several challenges every month to kind of make it fun to work on your pieces. And participation is required, so it's also getting me better about doing starting and ending pictures for my pieces. And the one challenge they do every month is a categories challenge, where they have 12 prompts, and the prompts stay the same throughout the year. They call a different letter each month. And it's kind of fun to be able to see how you can get your pieces to fit in, and it's been getting me to work on more than just my Whipco pieces, so I've been enjoying it. So that's kind of why I have so many pieces that I touch every month. It's trying to meet those goals, and like I said, I'm really enjoying it. So first up is one of my Whipco calls, which is Garden Verses by Mirabilia, and I apologize about the glare. This is a chart from 1994, and this is when there were actual photographs on the front of the charts. So there she is. Anybody who's been with me for a while, you've seen her a whole lot. I've been working on her since last year. I initially, or actually been working on her for 2 years. I wanted to get her finished for the Mirabilia retreat at the Queen City Stitch Retreat last October in Charlotte, and I fell woefully short. she's a whole lot bigger than I expected. But so she's on my Whipco board 5 times this year, if I need that many. I've been working on her a lot recently. I've been so this is her, would be her right shoulder, and her dress, and I always do this backwards. Her dress over here is finished. So I'm working on the bow in the middle of her bodice, and working across. I'm going to have to move the Q-snap soon so I can get to the right more. So when I do that, I'll show you her in all her glory. But you can see here, let's see if I do this without a whole lot of, so I'm working on this bow piece here in the center of her bodice. So once I get done with that, I've got another shoulder of her dress, a little more of the paper to finish up, and then it's her arm and her face. And I think I'm going to convert her hair and make her a bit of a redhead. Might be for obvious reasons as you look at the video. But she's coming along really nicely, and I'm as I get closer to a finish, it's getting harder and harder to put her down and meet my other goals. Next up is my temperature stitch, and this is it's a piece that was designed by Fox and Rabbit, and it was for their Patreon group. They initially released it last year, and they did an update for 2024 because, of course, we had the extra day in February. I didn't bring the chart cover up because it's a black and white printout from my computer, and quite honestly, now that I've gotten started on it, you get the idea. So here's where I'm at with this. I did some changes to this, and of course, this is going to be, there'll be 31 hearts here. This is January, and then, each month going down. But there's where I'm at with that. So I did some changes with this. Initially it called for all DMC. The hearts were supposed to be cross-stitched. I'm doing Rhodes hearts because I love Rhodes hearts. I think they're fun. The hangers, what I'm doing, and I don't know if it shows up very well here, if we had no precipitation that day, I'm doing it in DMC 939, which is the color I'm used for the year, and the borders. And if we did get precipitation, I'm doing the hanger in a Krynic that matches DMC 939. I forget what the number is. If you want to know, leave me a comment, and I'll definitely get that for you. And then if you can see the bows on the hangers, I'm doing them to match the low temperature of the day. So the heart is the high temperature. The bows are backstitched in the same color ranges, but they're the low temperature of the day. So it's fun. I've got to get back to it. It's another call for one of the Whip Warriors challenges this month, so I'll definitely get some more time on it. It really doesn't take long to do. I just have been having so much fun with a couple of my other pieces that I haven't spent a lot of time working on that one. And then Elizabeth Isles, is another piece. I started this, it was part of a stitch along for Laura from Brenda and the Serial Starter, Laura DeWay. It was Laura's big B-Day Sal, I think was the hashtag for it. And this is by the Scarlet Letter, and it's Elizabeth Isles. And I started it, and it hasn't gotten a lot of love, and I'll explain why in a minute. I am changing this up. I'm not doing the verse. I just don't really care for the verse. And rather than try to figure out something else to put down there, I'm just going to bring this border up under these dividing bands here. So mostly I'm stitching it for that really cool bird. But the little cherubs are fun, and the whole piece is fun. And I'm enjoying it. I'm stitching this on a piece of London Fog 30 count hemp fabric by Jackson Fiber Arts. And I'm using the Roxy Floss Co. thread conversion for it. And here's the whole piece. I guess if I hold it this way you can see it a little better. So part of why I got discouraged and put this down, and the fabric is showing a lot browner than it is. It's kind of it's got a pinkish brown undertone and some blue and gray on it. So let me see. Sorry guys, there's the whole piece where I'm at. So part of why I got discouraged on it is if you the carnations, I think they're supposed to be carnations, on either side of the bird, you can see here they look like they match, right? And maybe this, I looked at it, it's not really the fault of the floss conversion I'm doing. I think the cover piece maybe is the antique, but I got this one on the left-hand side stitched, and I like those colors, but you can see it's kind of like a brown outline with pink in the middle. And then when you come over here, there's the brighter pink with the light pink in the middle. And I thought I made a mistake, and I was disheartened, and I decided to leave it. I wasn't gonna pull it out and restitch it. And then I looked at the chart again when I pulled it out this month to work on it, and quite honestly, it's correct. So I'm going to keep going, and I feel better about it. You know how kind of, even when you decide you're going to leave a mistake and move forward, sometimes you kind of lose your enthusiasm for the piece. So that's kind of what happened here. And now that I realized, actually this happened with my Earth Dancer too. And in both cases I found out that what I remembered to be the problem really wasn't. So yeah, happy with working on her again. So she'll get more, she's on my WIPCO board, so she'll get pulled out at least one more time this year. Next up is To All a Good Night by Autumn Lane Stitchery. And I hope to have this one done for this year's Queen City Stitch Retreat, since Autumn Lane Stitchery is the featured designer. And this piece has been released in it's now a general release, but I initially got it as part of the Black Needle Society Nice List box, not in 2023 but in 2022. So here's what the cover looks like, and here's where I'm at with this one. It's really cool. There's a total of 8 colors in this. I did get it completely kitted as part of the Nice List box, and it's being stitched on 28 count opalescent white cashel linen, and that's where I've gotten with that. I decided to do the black frame so I can start working down from the top and kind of get some of the shading in there. So the really nice thing about, the thing I'm really enjoying about this piece, and it's what'll make working on the opalescent especially nice, is if you look at all the white bits in there, they're negative space. So the white is going to be the fabric showing through, and the blue is all the stitching, the blue and the black. So I have a really cool way I want to get this FFO'd, but if I can get it finished before the retreat, it will not be FFO'd since I'm flying, and I don't want to take it completely FFO'd. So it's not super big. The stitch count is 66 by 118, and stitching it on 28 count, the finished area is supposed to be 4.7 by 8.4 inches. So it's a fun stitch. Blue is one of my favorite colors, so I'm enjoying that. It's all DMC. 2/2, I'm stitching it on that 28 count, and I really enjoy it. my next piece that I've been working on, I started this as a stitch along, or a start along if you will, with Laura Stitching by the Shore, from Stitching by the Shore here on FlossTube, and Beth from the Steadfast Stitcher. She's got a FlossTube as well. And we started this on the first day of summer last year. This is Summer Quaker by Lila Studio. And I know you've seen it. Lots of folks are stitching it. Here's what the cover looks like. So, and the fun part about this is people have started in different places. I know Laura started with the border. Some other people have started in different parts of the border. But there's some really fun things in the border, like there's a lobster here. There's some crabs, you know, really cool little elements in the border. I looked at it, and I've said before, I love houses. I don't like stitching them, but I like them when they're done. I have this weird thing where I'm really attracted to pieces that have houses in them, like Winter Rose Manor has a huge house. I get bored stitching houses, but I generally like the result, so I carry on, right? So I looked at the center, and between having the houses in there, and they're not too big, so they shouldn't be too bad, but look at all that water that's actually stitched there in the middle. And yes, there's things to break it up. There's the mermaid, the jellyfish, all that kind of stuff. So I decided to work in the center. And the other reason I did that is because I wanted to make sure that by orienting it on this piece of fabric the way that I did, I'm going to have enough room, and I am. So here's where I'm at. I've got the stitch, the ship done. Those waves were fun to do, and now I'm working down here. And so what I'm doing is I'm doing a little bit of fill-in on the water, stitching some of the creatures, kind of breaking it up a little bit. But there's where I'm at. So the ship is done, except for there's some really long straight stitches that are the rigging on the sails, and I'm going to do that at the very end. But I think that'll come out again in April. I think there's a couple of Scattergories prompts that'll fit for. So hopefully that'll be good, and that'll get some more progress, because it's fun. I'm enjoying it, and it's fun to show it and see where other people are. And next up is the Loose Feathers by Blackbird Designs. Oh, and I didn't bring the other chart, but this is the one. There's three. I'm sure you've seen it. It's an older piece. It's from yeah. When were these done? Hold on. Hold, please. 2011. That's what I thought they were. So these are from 2011. So I know you guys have seen them. This is the one. There's summer, fall, and winter. And you stitch them all across in a piece. So I started on the left with summer. That's what it'll look like when it's done. And I made some really good progress on it. And here's where I'm at. So I've got to finish the bird. I spent a bunch of days working on this. It says I worked on it 3 days, but I know I put some extra time in it on conference calls at home. This is an easy one to pick up and put down. So I've got to finish the bird and then do the bottom alphabet here. And what I'll do is I do the bottom alphabet, I'll start carrying that over as a reference point for the next piece. So I'm using all the called for, and I'm not sure if it's die lots or what, but the one disappointing thing, if you can see in the flower there's 3 colors in the flower. It's outlined with one color, the fill-in is another, fill-in is flax, and then there's the same color in the center of the flower, the little random, there's little random stitches, I forget the word for what they're, like stamens. I'm not sure if that's the right word or not. But that's the same color, it's Queen Bee, the same color that's down as the seeds in the strawberry. And they really don't show too well as separate colors, even in person. But I looked at the DMC equivalents, and the color for the outline of that flower and the fill-in, they're one shade off, so there probably isn't a lot of contrast anyway. It's stitched, and like I said, I'm using the called for colors, so I'm going to leave it as it is. And occasionally in some lights you can see it a little bit, and we'll just go with that's the intended look, right? I'm stitching this 2/2 on a piece of 28 count antique lace Jobelin by Seraphim Fabrics. Not sure what the called for was for this, but this was something I had in my stash when I was getting ready to start it, and I really I like the way the colors are looking on that. Two more pieces, guys, and then we're done with whips for the month. I told you I touched a bunch. So next up is Sarah Mary Larkworthy 727. This is a Hands Across the Sea sampler, and you can see she was released in. You know what? I should write down these dates so I don't have to sit and look with you guys. Look, while I'm trying to talk to you guys about it. She was released in 2018, so I admit I wasn't familiar with FlossTube in 2018. I know it existed, and I know people were making videos and everything, but I really haven't seen her stitched a lot. I know if you go to the Hands Across the Sea website, there's a tutorial or a class that's available because she's got some freehand embroidery stitches. She's got satin stitches. All the vines there are stem stitched, and then these, they call them chrysanthemums. They're all freehand. So far, I don't think I'm going to need that. It is I believe there is a nominal fee for the class, but it is available. But I haven't really seen her stitched a lot. But when I saw her, so this is another one. I mean, if you look at the colors, and she's only got 5 colors in her. If you look at the colors, she looks like she's very red, blue, and white. And so I'm using the DMC conversion because I kitted her up from Stash. So, and she was my birthday start. So I'm stitching her on a piece of 36 count Sienna by Tropical Stitches, and I'm using, like I said, the DMC conversion. So my cross stitches are 2/2, and there's eyelets in her, satin stitches, and the eyelets I'm stitching with 2 strands. That was called for. The satin stitches I'm actually stitching with a single strand. So here's where she's at in her entirety. So I finished up that top alphabet, and then I came down here and worked on some more eyelets and that first satin stitch flower. But you can see her colors are not, well, the red is red, that's for sure. But the blue is one of the 926 series of DMC. It is, actually I lied, it's not, it's in that color family, but it's 3768. They call it a gray green is what that is. But I do like the colors. It is blown out a little bit. If I pull it back here, the colors are a little truer. So that's where I got to with her. I worked on her 2 different days, and I'm really satisfied with my progress. And that satin stitch flower, whew, can't say that too fast. That was a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to doing more of them. So should be, and they should go pretty quickly. You know, that band, there's a lot of stitching, but it's the eyelets in a diamond shape and then the satin stitch flowers. So it does actually go fairly quickly. And the last piece that I worked on this month, or in March, I should say, was Snapdragon by Nora Corbett. Same designer as Mirabilia Designs, and she's one of the Floral Pixie series, and she's from 2016. I started her as a start along at the Queen City Stitch Retreat in October with Kelly from Pages and Stitches, and our goal is to have her finished, and we have a picture of both of us with our starts from the retreat. So we're going to take her and put her on the brad table, and we'll get a finish of both pieces finished. And here's where I'm at. So her skirt is finished, and I've started stitching on her wings. Really, I'd say I'm probably better than halfway done with her. She's a lot of fun. The fabric is a 28 count mystery fabric. I literally do not know the name of it. I think this was a piece I purchased when Mary Jane's Cross and Stitch was liquidating their inventory when they were closing, and it's definitely a Lugana or Jobel. I think it's a Lugana. It's cotton even weave fabric, I believe. It's definitely not a linen. She's color's not too bad on there. She is definitely pink. She's looking a little brown on camera, but she's really not that brown. But her skirt is finished except for the beading. I started working on her wings, and I'll probably have to move my hoop soon. But I love the colors in this. And she stitches quickly, and she's another one, as she gets closer to a finish, she's getting harder and harder to put down. So since I worked on her, when I say 6 days, and for my whip go calls, my goal is 4 days. So for me, a day is when I have a chance to pick her up. Could be just an hour at lunchtime, could be a couple hours in an evening, could be a rainy day when we're watching movies or TV or sports or something and I get 3 or 4 hours. I just go by the number of times that I have to pick up a piece. So that's all of my in-progress pieces that I started, that I touched. Like I said, didn't have any new starts. And figured I would just give a quick recap on my March statistics. I stitched for 29 out of the 31 days, which is pretty good. Just kind of tracking to see. I would love to have a month where I stitch every single day. I know in April I've already got 2 days that I didn't stitch, just didn't feel like stitching. I touched 11 projects over the course of the month. I was really successfully able to use my whip go calls in the categories last month, and as well in Laura's I Spy. Laura Stitching by the Shore hosts an I Spy challenge every month, which is a lot of fun. She gives us 10 prompts, and they do change every month. I believe she lists them in the description box of her FlossTube video, as well as on her Facebook group. But she wants people who don't care to be on Facebook to be able to join in the fun as well. So I'll link her FlossTube channel, and I'll put the name of the Facebook group up there. It's a great group. It's a lot of fun, and everybody's welcome. It's people are doing some amazing work over there, in addition to the challenges. So let's see. For the month of March, I had 3 starts. I also had 3 finishes. So I kind of did increase my total count on my pieces in progress, which is good. I did meet all of my whip go goals, and I met 11 out of 12 goals for categories. I just didn't have one of the prompts is a designer, and the letter of the month for March was E. I don't have anything in progress, and so for for Whip Warriors, you do have to be working on pieces that are in progress. Once a piece hits 200 stitches, you can count it as a whip or a work in progress. I know there's designers out there. There is Erica Michaels and some others. I just didn't have any pieces in progress, and I didn't have enough time to get 200 stitches into a piece and then do more. So I'm really pleased with how my stitching month went for the month of March. Let's see, I did a little bit of shopping. It's not here yet from Market. I did pick up, I didn't want to say I'm going strictly stitch from stash because my brain rebels against things like that. But I'm minimizing my collecting this year. Mostly, if I have things I need to finish a piece that's already in progress, I'll buy them. But in terms of charts and fabric, I'm kind of holding back on what I'm buying. But I did pick up, this was a new Market release, and I don't have a picture of it. It's Arabesque from Jan Hicks Creates, and Beth, the Steadfast Stitcher, and Laura Stitching by the Shore are going to be starting that, and I'm going to start it as well. It's stitched in red. I want to do mine in black silk. And, I apologize, Beth. Beth gave me a really lovely shout out, and I wanted to mention it right up front, and I forgot. So Beth, the Steadfast Stitcher, did mention me in her last video, and I suspect that might be where some of my new folks have come from. If so, let me know. But I appreciate Beth's very kind words. And she mentioned specifically my Earth Dancer piece, and that was shown in my last video as a finish. And she's lovely. I love her. Lots of other folks have had kind words to say about her also. So that's it for my shopping. I did pick up, along with Arabesque, I did pick up another couple skeins of floss that I think I'm going to need for my loose feathers piece, like the red floss. I'm not sure what the model was stitched on, but looking at it, I've got that whole alphabet to go. I think it ought to be tight on floss, so I ordered another skein of Manor Red and one other floss. I forget which one it was. So my plans for April, and I have started on these, but I'm going to show them to you in my next video. For my Whip Go calls, so for my new start, or no, for my FFO ornaments, let me get a piece to show. So the two pieces I'm going to be finishing are, this is the 2004 ornament, and that's the name of it, from Periwinkle Promises. I know this is stitched in a Threadworks color, one of the reds that was called for, and I really like that. I think I've got, I think she'll be pretty with a really nice beaded border, and I've got some real pretty red fabrics to put on the back of her. I'm not sure if I'll do a finish or a flat fold, a pillow finish or a flat finish. Sometimes pillow finishes, if I want to do a beaded border, are a little easier to work with. So we'll see what I come up with for her. And the other finish, the other one I have, this is Tweet by Little House Needleworks. So that'll be fun too. A lot of birds and a lot of Christmas in my Whip Go calls this month. So that's Tweet. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that, but I'm sure I'll come up with something for that as well. And then my the two ornaments I'm going to start. One is it's called Chickadee Ornament by Victoria Sampler, and I'm doing the colors. Let's see, it's kind of in a bad spot to show it to you. Let's see, but I'm doing, and there's a glare. Let's see. I'm doing the lighter colors here on the bottom. Let's see if I open it up. Maybe we can. Actually, the darker colors show up a little better. So that's the ornament I'm doing. I'm doing it, there's another colorway that's pink and teal, and it is on platinum fabric. So that's the colorway I'm doing. It's this one right here. So, and that should be a fairly quick stitch. There's not a lot of stitching in it. It took a little bit of time. I had to come up with a DMC conversion. If you've stitched Victoria Sampler, you know she stitches in silks. And really, she doesn't really give a DMC conversion, but I was able to find the model uses a Versoix. I was able to find a conversion, and I'm happy with the colors that were suggested in that conversion chart. So, and then the other one I'm stitching, and you'll see why I say there's a lot of birds. So there's Chickadee, Tweet has birds, and then this is Outside My Window by Diane Grabner. And this one is from the 2005 Just Cross Stitch Ornament. Chickadee is from the 2003 issue. So here's that. I have the blue fabric. And this is just a few colors, and it's DMC. And again, it's not really dense stitching, so that should stitch up pretty quickly too, even though it's a little bigger than the Chickadee ornament. And in terms of whips, more Christmas. Christmas all over for me this month. Christmas in April. I don't know, maybe I'll make it a thing, right? So this is the Holly and Ivy sampler by Teresa Wentzler. And it's got a really intense border of holly leaves and bows. And it's got some of the words from the Christmas Carol in it. The holly and the ivy, when they are both full grown, of all the trees that are in the wood, the holly wears the crown. And yeah, it'd be great if I could read with my contacts, right? Um, and I can't read the bottom. But anyway, sorry about that, guys. If you want to know what the rest of the verse is, let me know. I'll put it in the comments. So here's where I'm at with this. I'm stitching it on a piece of, I think it's a mint green Jobelin. I know it's a color that's not made anymore because when I bought it, the LNS I got it from, I got her very last piece of it. So it's a really pale green. It may not even show up on camera. And when I started it, I started up here in the corner and I got that done, and it was pretty intimidating to figure out what I'd stitched and what I hadn't stitched. Those of you who stitched Teresa Wentzler pieces probably know what I'm talking about. But I figured out, so when I look at the chart, along the border there is some very pale, I think they're ecru. Every 10 or 11 stitches there's vertical lines that go behind the ivy and the holly in the border. So I'm going to stitch in a bunch of those, and hopefully that'll give me good reference points for counting, and there's going to be a ton of back stitch in that too. So this is going to be a labor of love, and it's not going to be finished quickly, but I do love it, and I can't wait to do some more work on it. And that'll get 4 days in the month of April. That's my goal. My whip goals for my whip board is 4 days. And again, some days that's more progress than others. And then the other piece that was called is the Toys and Games stocking. And this is from the Better Homes and Gardens Heirloom Christmas Stockings and Cross Stitch book. I know you've seen a bunch of these. I believe these were originally published all of these were originally published in the Cross Stitch and Country Crafts magazine. So if you can find some of those issues, you may not have to buy the whole book if there's a single stocking that you're looking for, because there are 2, 4, 6, I think there are 9 stockings in here. And if you want to see more of them, let me know. I could show you what else is in this book. And so if you're interested, just leave me a comment below. But here's where I'm at with this. And honestly, I've gotten a lot done. I need to backstitch. So I need to do back stitching in here. That pig and the airplane. This is one of those pieces where I don't mind doing the back stitching because it does add to it. So that'll get 4 days of attention, and hopefully I can move it on. I started it for my oldest nephew when he was probably 1, and we won't talk about the fact that he's graduating from high school this year. Okay, it'll be our little secret, right? So this won't be for him at this point, but I do want to finish it and maybe do another one from the magazine and have them for my husband and I. Right now we have a fireplace, which would be cool to hang them from. Who knows, in the future, maybe or maybe not. But I would like to have a pair of them stitched and finished. So that's a goal. Let's see. Other than that, in April, some pieces that I'm hoping to work on for both Scattergories and the I Spy Challenge are Garden Verses again, Summer Quaker, Temperature Hearts, which you've seen all those, Loose Feathers again. Maybe I'll pull out my Heirloom Nativity sampler by Victoria Sampler. That's a whip it's also on my whip go board for eventually. Hasn't gotten love in a long time. And for Laura's I Spy Challenge, another piece I want to work on is my Inkberry Holly by Nora Corbett, which I'm stitching 1/1 on 25 count. That was inspired by a bunch of works that were done at the Queen City Stitch Retreat. And now there's a Facebook group. Maggie and Amy started a Facebook group for Mini Miras. I'll put the name of it down below, and you got to see the work that people are doing in there. Either 20 count, 40 count, over 1, just itty bitty miras, which make them lovely. And there's some good information there if you want to do something like that on how to swap out the beads for either smaller sizes or Krynics or other things that people are doing to accommodate the beads, because they're not going to fit on tiny count fabric. But the other thing I'm excited for Laura's challenge is one of the challenges is a piece with rain or an umbrella, I think is one of the prompts. And this is a piece that I'm going to be starting. The artwork is by Leonid Afremov, and it was charted by Artisy, and it's called Walk with Dog. And I know you've seen some of his other pieces. The Loneliness of Winter, I think, is one of them. Or Loneliness of Autumn, I think, is one of them. There's a piece with a park bench, and there's people working on that. And the other thing is Farewell to Anger, I believe. And there's two versions of that. One's charted by Artisy, and one is charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. So, yeah, this will be a new start. I bought some inexpensive Aida. I haven't decided if I'm going to do it on 18 count, 20 count, or 22 count yet. I bought big pieces of all three. The brand, I think, is Kato. Laura from Stitching by the Shore recommended it. I think what I'm going to do is I found a video, a FlossTube video, on how to soften up Aida. I work in a hoop or a frame, so I prefer to have my Aida a little bit softer than some folks. And so there's a method you can do to soak it with vinegar and fabric softener. And it'll take some of that scratchy, stiff sizing out of it and make it a little more flexible. So I'm going to give that a try, especially since it's an expensive Aida. If I don't like what happens to it, I'll cut off another piece, right? Because I think I bought a yard of each, because I have several of these Afremov pieces that if I enjoy stitching them, I do have markup RXP, so I'm going to be using that. And if I enjoy them, I want to stitch a bunch of them. I just love the way he uses color and his designs. And the other thing is I do have a subscription to Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher magazine. That is a fantastic magazine, whether you get a digital subscription or a print subscription. I'm not sure if you live outside the U.S. if you can get a print subscription right now. I have to go to their website and check it out. But it is a great magazine. And there is an option that you can purchase if you get the print magazine. I think you automatically get access to all of their back digital issues, and you can purchase an option with the digital subscription that has access to all the back issues. And I did that, and I've downloaded them all. And I mean, it's a great value. And some of if you do punch needle, there's a lot of great punch needle pieces in there. There's also cross stitch, and some really great designers that contribute there. I like the quality of the printed issues. I wish I could justify having that much paper and taking up that much space in my house, because it's a really great quality, both the designs and the printing. It's a great quality magazine, and I really enjoy it. But the spring issue comes out 4 times a year, so there's spring, summer, fall, and winter/Christmas. And just a thought, if you don't do punch needle, they give you some instructions on how to transfer those designs onto fabric. I'm thinking about seeing if I can do some of them in just traditional embroidery too. So that would be fun. Or I might, there's tutorials online. I know Teresa Kogut did one. Vonna Pfeiffer has one on how to do punch needle. So I might just branch out and see if I can try punch needle and if I enjoy it. So we'll go from there. But there were three cross-stitch designs that I especially liked from this latest issue. The first one is called Spring Sunshine, and it's from Jan Hicks Creates. And isn't that just gorgeous? I love the colors in it. It's bright and pretty. So there's that one. And then this is Spring Fling by Lisa Barbarette of Happy Cat Stitching. And I just love that chunky little bunny out hopping. We have 3 dogs, and one of them is a almost 13-year-old Australian Shepherd that we adopted about 1.5 years ago. And she came to us very well loved, and she's a fluffy lady, and this just kind of reminds me of her in some ways. She's also always smiling. She's a very happy dog. And the last one is Birds in Love by Dorigo Michaela of Crochet Go-Go. And look at that. That's another real pretty, just springy pink birds. Lots to love in that. So I don't know when I'm going to be starting them, but they're definitely on my start sooner rather than later list. And if you're interested, Sarah from Sarah's Stitchy Spot has an ongoing stitch along, start along hashtag stitch smalls from PNPS. And it's kind of a way to inspire us to stitch some of these smaller designs from Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher, finish them up, and have them on hand if we need exchange pieces at a retreat or a piece just to send to a friend as a pick-me-up. So that's what I have to talk to you about stitching-wise. Life-wise, I'm sure everybody in the U.S. is aware there's going to be a solar eclipse tomorrow, which is April 8th. Hopefully this will be up before then. If you're in an area where you can see it, or you're traveling to an area, please travel safely. View it safely. Make sure you have the right kind of filter for your camera, or glasses to observe it, because you can do some very painful damage to your eyes. But definitely, eclipses do happen fairly frequently, but we don't always get to see them, and a total eclipse is not as common as a partial eclipse. I'm not in the path of totality, as they're calling it. I'm probably in somewhere between 80 and 90%. So we'll be going out. I'm going to be in the office tomorrow, and we're having a bit of a viewing event, or party, if you will. We've got glasses, and we're going to go out and watch, because it'll be a cool event. So if you're doing that, like I said, travel safely, view safely, and enjoy something that we don't get to see very often. I know there's people that are thinking that it's, there are people that are concerned about it, but they are natural events that do happen frequently. We just don't get to see them. So I'm choosing to look at it as a cool event that I get to see, not anything that's bringing on disaster or anything like that. So that's coming up tomorrow. My youngest nephew is playing baseball, so games are starting. Hopefully the weather's going to warm up. Today's a little bit warmer, so hopefully he'll get to play, and we'll get to be a little more comfortable watching these days. And I'm looking forward to that. My older nephew plays golf, and unfortunately they don't have a way for spectators to watch their matches, not like the Masters or anything like that. So we'll be rooting him on, moral support for that. And as I said, he's graduating the end of June. I can't believe where the time's gone, right? Other than that, now that the weather's nice, I need to get a new battery for my motorcycle, just a natural it's time kind of thing. And hopefully we'll be able to get out riding soon, so that'll cut back on my stitching time, and I'm perfectly okay with that. We'll start, got to get our camper opened up for the season too shortly. I think our first planned camping adventure is Memorial Day. But camping usually means stitching time, so that'll be fun. And looking forward to all of that kind of upcoming nicer weather in the northern hemisphere kind of stuff. So I'm going to say see you soon. That's it for now before I start rambling. Don't really have a tagline to sign off. I haven't really found anything that's comfortable for me to keep saying other than see you later, which was my dad. Those of you who've been with me, we lost my dad a year ago. And I didn't realize until I was talking to the chaplain with hospice and it was something he talked to her about, and she mentioned it to me. My dad never said goodbye. He always said, see you later. And that was just the thing with him. And I kind of have picked it up over time. With family, we always say, see you later, see you soon, something like that. So I'm going to say see you later, and keep stitching, and let's look at our art as a chance to do small things with great love. See you soon.